Infernal Blessings. We are back with another video. Alright, a couple quick announcements. We are in October. And if you're watching this video, I will get up the Patreon events. I forgot there's only 30 days in September. So all the classes, ritual, and then we have the conference this month. The busiest month of the year for us here at Primordial Chaos. The month of October. Busy. Alright. Real quick, 8th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference is officially less than a month away. Okay, 29 days and counting. Believe it or not, we are here again for the 8th straight year doing this now. Here in South Florida. 8 years strong and going. That'll take place October 30th to November 2nd. Right here in Hollywood, Florida. 4-day event. Classes and workshops and lectures. We kick it off Thursday evening, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a meet and greet, opening ritual. Friday and Saturday, the itinerary is 9 to 4 p.m. Classes, workshops, and presentations. We come back on Friday and Saturday in the evening around 7:30, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to do a group ritual together. And then on Sunday, we close the ritual out. We close the conference out from noon to 4 p.m. with a question and answer session with yours truly. And that will conclude the event. Also on Friday and Saturday night, which I forgot to mention, we will also have a group dinner after the rituals on Friday and Saturday night where we kind of get together, kick it, have some food, have some fun. And that's pretty much the conference. If you want to attend virtually or in person, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com, and I will get that information over to you ASAP. So send me that information, send me that email, and just specify if you want information to attend virtually or in person, or if you want information on both, just to be clear, just to give clarity. Very important. Hang on 1 sec. And I will get that information over to you, okay? Also, if you are interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different types of readings. Qlippothic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, shadow work readings, which is always a great reading to do, as I said before, to see kind of what you got going on, what direction you need to be going in. Especially if you're confused as what kind of ritual work do I need to be doing. You need to be doing ritual work addressing your needs. It's that simple. Shadow work a shadow work reading can pinpoint exactly what that is. Because as I said before, if you address the needs first and foremost, the wants will manifest. Trust when I say that. Seek the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding of self first. Seek that hidden gnosis of yourself first. And trust me, all those materialistic and physical things will be added to you. You'll obtain them. Trust me when I tell you. All right. If you want to sign up for class, or maybe you're just interested in a spiritual consultation, let me throw that out there. Sometimes people just have a bunch of questions about the occult or the left-hand path, and they just want to sit with me in a session and just pick my brain because they got a gang of questions. So most people use a consultation as a one-on-one to answer a lot of questions they have. Any of the aforementioned, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. That's khnum19@gmail.com. Please include in your email your full availability on a weekly basis, including your time zone that you live in, and we will find a day and time that works for both of us, all right? If you want to sign up for classes, real simple, go to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. That's patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3 is the tier you want to join. That is going to give you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, including the group ritual we do together at the end of the month. If you want to see all the ongoing classes, go to the page. When you get to the Patreon page, click the collection section. You will see all of the ongoing classes. It's a gang of them, people. Trust me when I tell you. We're covering every occult left-hand path topic you can think of above and beyond the sun, and always adding more, always room for improvement and growth. But you will see the tier 3, if you sign up and join, it's going to keep you busy. You won't even get to it in this lifetime, and that's not even an exaggeration. That's I'm saying that out of confidence. If you're looking to take your path of self-mastery to the next level, you want to get in the game, you just don't want to sit on the sidelines no more. You don't want to be that armchair magician that just reads books, right? I'm going to talk about that because the topic I'm going to talk about in a minute, that's part of it, right? You want to get in the game, you just don't want to watch. Go to patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I, and join tier 3. All right, also, don't forget to check out the social media pages, Primordial Chaos 9 on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 2 words on Facebook, primordialchaos.com 3 on TikTok. Go to those platforms, subscribe. That's the way to stay abreast of the latest happening, classes, events, announcements, you name it. That's kind of where you want to go. That's going to keep you abreast of what we're doing here at Primordial Chaos. So subscribe to those platforms as soon as you get a chance. All right. Also, don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. Make sure you hit that like button as you're watching this video. That gets the algorithm pumping and out there. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second to do this. And when you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, check all notifications, and hopefully you get all notifications if I go live or I post a new video. All right, so support the channel. For all those that have been supporting the channel, the YouTube channel, and the social media platforms, and especially the Primordial Chaos family on Patreon, again, I want to send my thanks and gratitude. I appreciate the support. As I've said before, some of you guys have been rocking with me since day one. You know who you are. Not saying that doesn't make you better than the person that's been rocking with me for the last 2 weeks, right? I just appreciate all the sincere seekers on this path that are really trying to get their shit together. That's my point, all right? Other than that, I'm going to get into the topic. But also, all those links I just mentioned, the link to the Patreon page to sign up for classes, the email address to contact me as far as readings go, the links to the social media pages, all those links are in the description box of this video you're watching right now, all right? You see the topic. So I was doing some Qlippothic studies last night. For some reason, and this happens sometimes because this is how sometimes the spirits communicate to you. They incite a certain awareness in you. So literally last night, I'm just on the couch, and this happens a lot to me personally, right? And it's personal. I'm just sitting on the couch, and out of nowhere, I just get this urge to, something's telling me, you know, do some study, some reading on the Qlippothic. So I have a couple of books I've been in and out of, and I said, let me go into my Qlippothic book here, Qlippothic Meditations. I said, let me go in here. So I'm reading, and this is, again, because this is my personal thing. When I know the spirit leads me to pick up a certain book, I just flip the pages like I fan them, and wherever it stops, that's how I know what the spirit wanted me to know. So I do that, and in the particular book I'm in, it stops at Daath. Some pronounce Daath, D-A-A-T-H. Now, Daath is that invisible clip or clip on the Qlippothic tree, right? So I found this interesting. I said, wow. So I said, let me meditate on Daath and see what the spirits are trying to show, communicate. I go there and look at it, do a little research on it, and I go into my meditation. Now, obviously, you're going to have to be familiar with the Qlippothic tree to understand what I'm about to say next real quick. Now, if you look on if you have an illustration of, you can look on any illustration of the Qlippothic, and when you see the list of the different clips, if you look smack in the center, you will see Daath listed, right? Described. Now, if you look at it, Daath is the reason why they call it the unseen or the hidden clip is because there's no pathways connecting it. And I'm going to tell you why. If you look at it, it's in the center with no direct paths connecting to it. If you look at all the other cliffs, the portals and the gateway, and there's a connection there, yes, with the tunnels of Set, right? Like, getting ready to touch on that heavy real soon. We're getting ready to start a class on the Patreon with that soon, too. But right now, we're working on the Qlippothic. Once we get through all the cliffs, that's on deck next. And I do things for a reason. In the order I do them, there's a method to my madness. There's a reason. Well, anyway, if you look on any illustration of the Qlippothic tree or the Qlippothic tree, you will clearly see right in the center there, in the middle, is that unseen cliff they call Daath. Okay? And it's not connected by any roadways. And the reason for that is a lot of people who study the Qlippothic, a lot of writers, teachers, and people who have written books on this over the years say this represents the going into the abyss, or sometimes it represents somebody who gets lost in the abyss or the void. And then how does this correlate? How do we apply this to ourselves? And how do we look at this as a whole if you're studying the Qlipp or the Qlippothic tree, right? Now, I've personally have said the Qlippothic studies, yes, they can be done in a group to a degree. It's very personal. It's very individual work. I'm not saying you can't have groups on this or do this in group study to a degree. Like, we've done rituals on this with a particular demon, god or goddess from the Qlipp, that it's a little bit different. Because I think this, out of a lot of the work we do on the occult and the left-hand path, this is a very personal and individualized type of work, right? So that's just my perspective on that. Now, so some say when they work with this unseen or hidden Qlipp, sometimes people get lost in the void and the abyss. And I want to be clear on this. So this is some of the things you need to be aware of. The Qlippothic journey is very intense, and I've talked about this before, right? And I put this stuff out there not to use fear tactics or to create, spooky, but there are some things you need to be aware of. The Qlippothic work can literally turn your entire life upside down. Yes, I know you hear that from myself and others. You say, well, you say that about Set, you say this or that. There's different levels to this shit. The Qlippothic will test your mental fortitude. It will test your sanity. I've seen levels of people's lives change for good or bad. I've seen people go into extreme struggles, depression, poverty. Their personal life gets turned upside down. And this is kind of what the unhidden cliff of Daath represents, getting lost in the void or the abyss. So it represents when somebody loses control or does not have the ability no more to master their personal chaos. So their personal chaos kind of turns on them and devours them. It's where life's problems start to be the dominating factor in an individual's life. Financial problems, as I said, can arise. Even illnesses, physical illnesses, spiritual, mental, emotional. Yes, it could be depression. It could be neurological disorders. This is fact. You have to be very clear and understand and understand and overstand, whatever terms you want to use that floats your boat, of what type of energy you're accessing when you do this work. And this is why I've seen a lot of bullshit so-called people claim to be occultist or on the left-hand path. I've literally even heard some people claiming to be on the left-hand path, and I've seen them on public forums and platforms and videos being asked about the Qlippothic, and they didn't even know what the fuck it was, that's pretty frightening to me, right? I think a true occultist or left-hand path practitioner should at least have knowledge of the Qlippothic. I'm not saying you're forced or it's mandatory you have to work with it, but most don't, because remember, the Qlippothic is the antithesis or the opposite of what the Kabbalistic tree is, or the Sephiroth. I'm working with that. It is the flip side to that. There's no parameters. It's going into the void or the abyss, the state of nothingness, before anything was in what you know as your physical or mortal existence, right? You're going into the primordial chaotic energy where all things manifested from, right? That's not what I know. A lot of people work with they study the Kabbalah and they work with the Kabbalistic tree, but that's on this side of things. That's dealing with this aspect of earthly and territory creation, which taps you into a certain degree spiritually to the mysteries, but nothing like on the level of when you work with the Qlippothic tree. Okay, so when one sometimes works with Daath, they can get lost in there. Literally, they say lost in the void or the abyss and consumed and devoured. But there's another thing that you'll hear a lot of people say, the reason why these people get stuck, and you hear me talk about this on many different levels for years now. Like they usually say, what are the characteristics and some things that represent somebody who has gotten lost in the cliff of Daath? Well, real simple. These are your people, quote unquote, that study, read books, think they know everything, right? And don't apply any of the knowledge, don't use any type of application to apply the knowledge they learn to transform their life. They're always at a standstill. They always struggle. Because of that reason, they don't apply any of the knowledge they learn. They read a gang of books. They study this, they study that. They can regurgitate shit. They know shit. They can quote shit. Word verbatim. They can read shit. They have photographic memory. They're heavy. They got a huge occult library. They got thousands of books. Gang, I got that book. Oh, I read that. Oh, yeah, I know that. Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Oh, yeah, I got that. Oh, yeah, I know already. I already studied all that. Oh, yeah, I learned all that. Those people. We know all these people. I call them Colonel McBrags. They've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. They know everything, right? But then when you look at their life, it's a hot motherfucking mess. They got personal problems. They got relationship problems or marital problems. They struggling financially. They very, very confrontational individuals. They bitter, they angry. They be hating on people all the time. They're very jealous and envious of people. Right? They're blaming other people for their weaknesses and their shortcomings. Always got some crutch to lean on. Always play the blame game. Or always the one that causes a problem. If they're in a group setting, they're the one that always sets it off. Right? They never, ever, ever have the ability to produce something productive, whether they're directly involved in it or indirectly. They're usually the root of the problem. Right? That's an individual that has that Daath energy. Okay? And that they're consumed by the void and the abyss, right? Don't get it twisted. You might hear that term and might say, oh, the void and the abyss sounds very, right? Don't play with the void and the abyss. Because the last thing you want to do is get lost in that motherfucker and consumed. And know this when you work with the clip or the Qlippothic tree, when you work with the different clips. Once you open the energy, especially if you do some of the invocations, evocations, the self-initiations, that energy is attached to you. You can't change that. That's fact. Anybody that works with the Qlippoth will tell you. So I've watched also people open clips and then realize, uh-oh, it's not for me. Sorry to say, you really can't reverse that. That energy is attached to you. You've opened it up. There's always be that spiritual connection there, whether you want it or not. Now, how you choose to approach that will all determine if that is something that can be positive or negative for you on a personal level. So this is one of those things, like I said, we got some dabblers out here. We got some fence straddlers. I've said that for years. You know, we got people who want to straddle the fence on the occult. They got the left foot in, the right foot out. They do the hokey pokey in, they get off up. That's my point. Certain things you can't be a dabbler on spirituality. Right? You can't be the cat and be curious. As they say, curiosity kills the cat. Right? Some of you motherfuckers are too curious. Right? You're uncertain. You are indecisive about what you want to do. You're confused. And sometimes you make poor decisions that there are consequences for. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's just facts of life. I'm not going to give you a bullshit story. I'm not going to pretend and sugarcoat it and soften it and dumb it down because I'd be doing you an injustice, right? So don't get consumed by this clip if you're working on it. Or even if you have, excuse me, I'm going to the car wash. Hold on. You know me. I'm trying to keep. How you doing? No upgrades. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yep. You too. As I said, whether you're not working the Qlippothic, some people naturally have that Daath energy because they're being consumed by their chaos, right? They're being consumed by the void and the abyss. Did anybody ever just stop to really look up and really absorb the true meanings of those words? What is a void, right? I know this might sound basic, but sometimes we don't do the basic recognition of the terms that we use on this path. I'm just going to keep it real, okay? Sometimes we just don't do that, okay? When there's a void, there's a space of Like when we also use a term on this path called going through the highway to the void, the Sitra Akra. That's the gateway, which is represented on the cliff by Lilith and Naama. Right? They're the two divine feminine energies that take the individual by the hand and take them through the pathway into the entrance of the void. Right? As I said, people don't understand lust in representation to Lilith. They get confused because people automatically hear the word lust and the first thing that comes to mind is sex. Now, I am not saying the word lust and the energy that's connected to lust, I know it's a little noisy, so I'm speaking loud, is not connected to sex, because there is an aspect of lust, obviously, connected to sex. But that's not all. You can lust for food. You can lust for a materialistic item. But the most important thing that Lilith reaches out to her devotees are those who lust for knowledge, people. That's why she is, contrary to belief, contrary to the bullshit you hear out all over the internet, she is not an easy spirit to connect with. And this is why I question, not to be judgmental, my radar is up when I hear a lot of these so-called people describing their experiences and their testimonies with Lilith. I'm hearing all this fluffy bunny shit, and I'm not hearing anything that they've truly learned about themselves. I'm not hearing anything about the struggles or the things that Lilith revealed to them. All I hear is this, oh, it's my divine mother, and this, and I'm not sure if it's a byproduct of their mind or what they're tapping into. I'm just gonna keep it 100% with you. Lilith reaches out. The most powerful lust that attracts Lilith, and I want to say this and be clear, is the lust that an individual has for knowledge of self, the hidden gnosis about themselves, how they want to grow and master themselves. This is when she symbolically extends her hand and pulls you through the Sitra Akra, the void, right? For those that study, you know what I'm talking about. For those that don't, you just, unfortunately, you may not. Okay? So let's not act like lust, all it is sex. Now, I also want to put this out, and I have never done one. It's going to be added to the Patreon. There will be specifically a sex magic class added to the Patreon. Never done it before. It doesn't exist. It's not on there. I've talked about sex magic, but I said I think it's now time. And it's only for mature folks. If you're not mature about this and you don't, it's not just talking about lust and fucking. We will talk about that. That's part of it. But we are going to talk about specifically how to differentiate and focusing your intent when sex is done for spiritual practice, understanding the clarity and difference between using sexual energy more for spiritual purposes and not just lust, understanding the lust side of it, and then how to combine both of them, right? And that's something we'll get into. But to finish this topic off, back to what I was saying, some people have that Daath energy that they're consumed by, okay? They get consumed by this because they don't apply anything that they're learning on this path. They read a gang of shit. Like I said, they got probably the biggest occult library than anybody you ever came across in your life. All for show, okay? They dress right way. They say the right things. They sound like they got shit together, but they really don't, okay? So I'm saying this all to say to you, whether you're working with the Qlippothic tree or maybe you're not at all, okay? But maybe you are an individual that has a lot of similarities and aspects of this Daath energy, because you are that individual that does not apply yourself. You are that individual that reads books, regurgitates shit. You put on a show just so others can see you, because you want to look good, you want to sound heavy, you want to sound deep, but you're not a living example of what you claim you know. And again, this is not being judgmental, but this is what differentiates what we do on this path and what others do. I always, to anybody that studies with me, part of the classes, comes to our group settings, one thing I require, and the only thing that I require, not because I'm special, not because I'm better than anybody because I'm not. I'm your fellow brother. I'm in this same, I don't know if struggle is the right word to a degree. I'm in the same journey is the word I'm looking for that you are. We all are. We're all navigating this path. But one thing I require is that you be a living example of what you claim you know. That's it. That's it. Now, if I see you talking one game and then I'm looking at you, I'm like, dude, you doing everything contrary to what you claim. You know, I see this so many times with a lot of people on whatever path they're on. They claim to be this, that, and the third, and then their actions show completely the opposite. I'm like, wait, did this dude say he was this peaceful Muslim and that he's, you know, he helps everybody, or he's so loving and compassionate and he's a great this and that or shit? And then I'm looking and you're wild and you're reckless and you're rude and you ain't got no discipline and you don't take care of you. Like, to me, that's a problem. It's not being judgmental. You're not judging somebody falsely. You're holding them to a certain standard. And I expect anybody who claims to be on the occult or the left-hand path that you're held to that standard, just like I should be held to that standard. Right? See, you might be listening and go, I know all these other paths, you know, oh, don't worry about your problems. God loves you. We're all the same. Bullshit. That, you know what that's like to me? That's like today in sports with these kids, everybody gets a participation trophy. Well, guess what? On the occult or the left-hand path, you don't get a participation trophy. And this is why you've always heard me say over the years, you can't come amongst us in our circle and fake the funk, because we're going to spot it and we're going to call you out. When you come into the temple, into the darkness, and you walk in that brotherhood or sisterhood in that darkness, you can't fake the funk. I know you could do that in a lot of other paths. You could do that in Ifa/Santeria. You can do that in a lot of African traditional religions. You can do that in Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, because all you got to do is put on the costume. Let me put on my crucifix. Let me say the right things. Or let me put on my dashiki and my Mr. T African traditional starter kit. Let me put on 15 beads, different color beads, so I can let everybody see I'm so cultural and African and this, right? You can get away with that. Well, shit, there's people that even do it on the left-hand path. Let me put on my all black and my dark gothic makeup and my big ass fucking pentagram and let me put on 6 other Leviathan symbols and this and that, right? So look, people on the occult left-hand path, they're guilty of the same shit. It don't just apply to people of other paths. You can't do that amongst the real. Look, and I can say this coming from a background, a lot of those traditional systems, and I'm sure a lot of you out there watching this video that are or used to be, you're gonna be able to validate what I'm about to say. How many people did we know on that path? We knew they were full of shit. And they would come to gatherings, events, classes, and you listen to them say shit, and you knew them on a degree to a personal level. You knew their life was a hot fucking mess. You knew they were faking the funk, and you sometimes your eyes would come out of the back of the head, and you'd be like, man, this motherfucker's full of shit, because you knew how that person really was, right? But you can get away with it on that path, right? All you gotta do is have the look down pack, say the right things, regurgitate, go with the herd, have the herd mentality, do what everybody else is doing. As they say, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. That's that type of herd mentality. Well, guess what? The left-hand path in the occult is a path of individualization and isolation, but yet staying connected to the connectedness of the all. You might say, Benita, that was a lot. That sounds contradicting. What the fuck are you talking about? As I said before, only those on the isolated path of consciousness understand you must step outside the box in order to see the connectedness that keeps everything connected. Well, how do I do that, Benita? How can it be all connected if I stepped outside the box? Well, if you understand who and what God is, you'd understand that better. That's something I couldn't explain here in a short few minutes. Okay? You have to remember, look at life and your existence and ritualize your whole existence. Look at it like you're the puppet master, right? You know what a puppet master is? He holds all the strings to all the puppets. So he's seeing everything, or she's seeing everything, and calling and seeing and how everything works and how it's controlled. You need to become the puppet master. Okay? Now that's a whole nother class of how to do that. I'm trying to use metaphors to get you to see what the fuck I'm talking about. So don't work with the Qlippothic if you can't become the puppet master. Because then you are going to be one of the puppets that are controlled by the puppet master. So don't get consumed with Daath energy. Okay? If you get consumed by it, you will get devoured. And as the clip represents, the hidden clip of Daath, you get lost in the void and the abyss. All right? That's going to do it for me. That's what I got for you. It's kind of what I wanted to go over. Hopefully this tutorial helped you. If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual reading or a consultation, or you need a direct link to my email address, or you need a direct link to the Patreon page to sign up for classes, or the podcast, or the social media pages, all those links in the description box of this video. Don't forget, again, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell, then click all notifications so you get a notification when I go live or I post a new video. All right? That's what I got for you. Infernal blessings, and we will talk soon.